Good afternoon. Welcome back. I hope you guys had a great summer. Well, Chandra and I had a great time along with our partner Kristen planning for this year over the summer, and I just can't tell you how thrilled we are at Vanderbilt to remain in this partnership with TPAC for this Inside Out of the Lunch program. And we know this program would not be what it is without all those who agree to come and be on our panels and bring their art to this stage during the lunchtime, and along with all of our partnerships between TPAC. So, and all of you that come all the time and you engage in this program, thank you so much, because it makes a big difference. Kristen, what are we starting our 10th year? 8th year, 9th year, 10th? It might be 11th. We just had so much fun. We don't keep up with the years, but thank you all so much for being here, and we appreciate it tremendously. So give yourselves a hand. Woo-woo, y'all rock, right? So today is so exciting. I think we have just an amazing program to bring to you today. We're bringing you Stand by Jim Reyland, and it's from the writer stage. So it's just really our opportunity to embrace a program that sort of brings real life right to the stage in front of us, real friendships and real life. So I'm really excited. So I'm going to introduce our moderator for today. Our moderator is Carolyn German, and Carolyn owns Theater Craft. She is amazing, and she does playwrights, she does acting, she does corporate training, she does anything fabulous that you can imagine, she does. And she does it with great energy. So I'm really excited to introduce her today. She also was she wrote the teacher's manual for this play, because TPAC Education is doing 4 HOT performances of this production. Woo! So many kids will have an opportunity, and teachers will be able to facilitate the learning through the work that Carolyn has done. So the magic is getting ready to happen on this stage, so I'm going to bring Carolyn out to introduce the rest of the magic. Carolyn, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Gail, and thank you to all of you who are here today. I'm very excited to be on this panel. It's going to be a great day. I am joined today by Dr. Jaco Hammond, and I want to give you a little background for Dr. Hammond. Jaco is Associate Professor of Religion, Psychology, and Culture, and Director of Programs in Theology and Practice. He's also a published author, several times over, I believe. And I think this is very interesting because his research interests include a really wide range of topics, and I want to read a few off to you. Psychology of religion, psychodynamic theory, psychodynamic theory, play studies, and the relationship between technology and theological anthropology. That's a lot, and I'm very excited. We're going to have an intriguing conversation today, and so thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So today we'll also be joined by, on the panel shortly, by the 2 actors from Stand. That's Chip Arnold and Barry Scott. And both of these gentlemen are incredible talents. Their extensive credits include everything from film to television to voiceover work, and of course the stage. And we're going to get a small, just a small bit of their stage work today in this wonderful, these 2 excerpts from Stand. Stand is a play by Jim Reyland, and Jim wrote this play after the death of a gentleman named Johnny J.J. Ellis. And this is J.J.'s true story, this play is. And it's a story that harbors a lot of challenges. J.J. struggled with homelessness, drug addiction, mental illness. But it's also the story of a person who reached out to help JJ. we're going to get the first scene from the play Stand. It all begins outside of a church where Johnny and Mark encounter each other. Please welcome scene 1 from Stand.
Oh.
You know, when I was a kid, if our paperboy delivered us a wet newspaper, we called his mom. I told that guy in Sri Lanka I wanted to talk to somebody's mom. I didn't make it to church today. I got some bad news this morning, and by the time I got down here, it was over. You know, when you're sick, the last place you feel real comfort is in your bed. If you can't feel better in bed, then where? When I'm alone and hurt, church is like that. It's the last place I go to feel peace. If not there, where?
The back corner by the trash can. Butterball tried to get it, 'cause it earns good. So I let it slip. Somebody I know has hepatitis. Problem solved. I make 2 bills a week standing by this church. The preacher says, help your fellow man. And here I am. They spoil me.
So, you were late too, huh?
No, right on time.
Right. You're here. You read the paper? You probably have a few stories of your own.
How much you pay me for them? They all I got left to sell, except this look.
I bet people pay good money for that look.
My mother was a heroin addict.
Mine was an over-medicated social climber.
Mine boiled me, sacrificed me to the devil.
Really?
She didn't want me no more. I didn't want her. Oh, that's not true.
Well, it's not as dumb as it sounds.
Dumb? You mean like crack? We call it that because it makes you dumb. And it'll kill you, and that's dumb, unless you want it that way. And then screw you with being like that.
When's the last time you had something to eat?
I don't need nothing. Nothing but change.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
You from around here?
I got step parents somewhere in East Tennessee. I ain't seen them in 20 years.
My parents used to tell me that there'd be those who'd want to get close to me because I had money.
Don't want to get close to you. Just want your money.
You sound like my ex. You know, at the used car lot where I work, they wear coats and ties while they're screwing me. At least they smell nice. You don't smell so nice.
Well, it's what you do with what you've been given.
Yeah. Well, if you had it, what would you use it for?
You want me to bring you a receipt?
No.
Then what do you want from me?
Well, just tell me everything I believe about you isn't true. You know, the things we're all thinking.
I don't read minds for no dollar.
What we don't say out loud for fear people will think we're monsters.
I used to have a home and a wife. Now I sleep outside behind that steakhouse. I crawl up at noon and come to this church to beg. I get high. I walk the same 6 blocks Then I go back to sleep behind the steakhouse with no pillow.
I can get you a pillow. Come on, I'll buy you a burger.
I ain't your lunch buddy. Why you making me work so hard?
So, you're afraid of a little hard work?
No, I mean, yeah.
Just get a job. Some stack of those homeless papers, sell them on the corner.
I beg $1, I keep $1. It's a better business model. For you, I put this in my food pocket. Buy my drugs with money from the next loser. Put that in my crack pocket. You can give me $1, mister. You can even help me. But the sad truth is, you can't save me.
Who said I wanted to do anything like that? I just want to get you in out of the rain.
Saints to the back of the line. My brother dumped lighter fluid on my legs, threw a match on me. I was 4 years old. I got more secrets.
Can I run a tab?
I got street secrets, but you got to promise not to tell nobody. You promise? Why would I want to climb up out of my hole when people keep throwing meat down here? Huh?
You know what happens out here, and you're scared you're next.
And you think if you help me, you'll go to heaven? And if you don't, you're afraid of what happens next. You're the one scared.
I go inside this church almost every day looking for redemption, and now you tell me it's out here leaning against a trash can?
How about that? Oh, I hate it when it's raining. It's so cold. I should have got me a hole with a roof on it.
I should have just ducked my head and kept walking like every other day.
What you gonna do, man? Bring me back to the office? Put me in the copy room? Take me home to the wife?
I don't have a wife anymore. Or much else.
Well, you still up there. And you know where I am.
Maybe we could all start working our way toward the middle.
Who the hell are you?
I'm Mark.
I knew it. When I first saw you, I said, there's my Mark.
That's not funny. Well, maybe it's a little funny.
All right, yeah, you'll do. Come on. We going to the mall. We gonna get us a cookie.
Where's your stuff?
You funny. I must. Oh.
I promise. I won't let you down.
Okay. Mark. You know, we're not so different. You and me, you just got better funding. You do have better funding, right? Yeah. We're going to the mall. You gonna get us a cookie? Yeah. Maybe I'll get a massage or something, okay? They got that place where they rub your back. I need that.
So, Jaco, that scene takes place at a church, outside of a church. In fact, it's set, and it actually happened, outside of the Cathedral of the Incarnation, which is right here in Nashville. I was wondering if you could speak to the significance of the church, or even more broadly, religion, as it relates to these themes.
Sure. Well, first of all, it's an honor being with you all today, and I think it is absolutely wonderful that our first scene begins at a church, because the Judeo-Christian tradition is a tradition that believes in an in-your-face God. The clearest image we can get from that is in the early chapters of the book Numbers, where God comes to Aaron, the brother of Moses, and God says to Aaron, "Tell all your ancestors for generations to come that I'm a God who turns my face towards you so that you can have peace, that I turn my face towards you that you can have, that you can sense my smile, and ultimately that I turn my face towards you that you can be blessed." So 3 times God says, God turns God's face towards us, and then we get blessing, we get grace, we get peace. Neuroscience, I think, have affirmed that we live a facial lives as individuals. So all of us here in the frontal lobes have mirror neurons. And these neurons get activated when we literally look into the face of another person. It is foundational in the relationship between an infant and a primary caregiver, a mother or a father, for instance. But it's also foundational to lovers and intimate relationships. And these mirror neurons are actually active in all of our relationships. When the mirror neurons gets triggered, dopamine is released by our brains, which is the feel-good drug. We feel better. But also oxytocin. And oxytocin is the neurochemical that gives us a sense of belonging. So we started in front of a chapel or a church. The tradition says that God's face sort of smiles upon humans. But then we live into that image. And so when we see somebody else's face, and you could sense that between Mark and Johnny, when they made eye contact, a significant relationship was established.
So I would guess that there's some insights into the scenario happening in an opposite way. Like, what keeps us from that? What's so strange about the stranger? What is it when we don't connect?
Yeah, so we all live facial lives. We long to be recognized. We long to be seen. But faces then frustrate for that very reason, because our face looks out and wants to be recognized, but it doesn't always happen. We love to be affirmed. We love to be have a sense of belonging. We love empathy. We love to see warmth coming from somebody else's face. And when we feel that the other face is not doing that, we get frustrated and angry because we feel the other face is withholding from us. Even more so, faces are all the same, yet they're different. And so for me to be me and you to be you, we have to recognize that there are some differences between us. And it's really difficult to understand those differences, to figure out just exactly what they actually might be. More so, our faces awaken emotion. I love the fact that the word emotion comes from the 16th century French work émouvoir. Émouvoir literally means civil unrest. It causes unrest. It causes discord within us. And so when we look at the face of the other person, and I think our actors today really showed us that, when they look into each other's eyes, the emotion came, the discord came, the unrest came, and it's very difficult for us all to hold that strong emotion that the other person's face awakens for us. Lastly, faces frustrate because they become a mirror, and in that mirror we see our own brokenness. And as we get to know people, we recognize that they carry similar wounds that we carry. And that, of course, is something that few of us would like to acknowledge, that we're wounded and in need of help.
Right. And certainly in this sort of scenario, for the character of Mark, the desire to walk by it at first is very compelling. we're certainly all guilty of that. And it goes beyond not just this type of issue of homelessness, but we walk past a lot of hurt or pain every day. And I find that intriguing that we get a chance to look at that right here. Well, this might be a good spot to introduce our next scene. So in scene 2, Johnny has decided that he wants to go back and visit his foster family. Now, he has not seen his foster family in 20 years, but he has got it in his mind that that's what he wants to do. With hesitation, Mark has agreed to take him back to see his family, and Mark has arranged it, spoken to them on the phone. The scene we're going to see takes place after that reunion, as it were, has happened. And so we're going to see Mark and Johnny in the car as they ride home from this reunion after 20 years. This is scene 5 from Stand.
Oh man, Mr. Mark, it was just like I remembered it. Did you see that park?
Yeah, that's the park. Yes, I saw it.
I can't remember her name, but we were back in high school. We were playing on a train. It's gone now. At the junior high, they had professional wrestling. My brothers and I would go.
Your mother showed me a lot of pictures of you when you were 16. The prince of the roller rink.
The girls loved me. I was the #1 skater in the USA. A man from Disney wanted to sign me to a $100,000 contract. Ooh. You ain't ever seen the stuff like the stuff I got on wheels. I was that good. Everybody knew it. #1 skater. The house looked just the same. My mama was waiting for me.
You look just like her.
I do.
Sure you do.
That's a $100,000 house, the biggest one in town. My brothers came.
Yeah.
Oh, the stories my mama would tell.
And your daddy, too. I learned a lot about you.
Yeah, they look just like themselves. They ain't changed a bit. We had us a party with aunts and cousins and neighbors, I forgot, with chicken and cake.
I think it was more like chicken cake.
My little sister Brenda, she got a beautiful baby girl.
You have a nice family, Jay.
David couldn't come. He's in jail. My brother Robbie, he's fat. Did you see that big boy? I could still take him. Robbie's got his own business. He said he could get me on. It's janitorial. He's got his own business cards. He showed me.
I saw them.
You saw them?
Sure.
You got to be big time to have your own business cards. I'm so happy!
Yes, everybody remembered you, John.
You got a family like me, Mr. Mark?
No, not like you.
What's wrong with you?
My father, he made his fortune liquidating companies. He wanted me to follow him in the family biz, and I didn't have the heart. No, my family was all about opportunity and expectations, and if you weren't a sociopath and couldn't pay back the investment, then you were thrown out. You ended up in a one-room apartment, selling used cars, divorced, waking up every day, pushing 60, alone. My only childhood friend just showed up at my front door every morning. He and his mother dropped off by the bus, crossing 6 lanes of traffic to the mansion she cleaned while she watched us. That was Millie and her son, Thomas.
Miss Millie, she was kind.
Yes. I saw her every week, right up till the day she died.
Miss Millie, when did she go?
The day you and I met, and
Maybe you should go home and visit your parents, too.
I could go home, but there's nobody there. My mother's dead. My father has dementia. He doesn't even remember me.
My parents want me to come home. Maybe for a while. Maybe forever.
Forever. That's a long time, Johnny.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how much you want something, sometimes things just don't work out. I thought I'd be married forever, but she was afraid. People get scared. Hey, did you know back in the day, I wanted to be a singer?
Get out of here.
I sang in an a cappella group in college.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What's that? Naked?
What?
Like a bunch of dudes standing around singing naked?
No.
I know it is.
It's not.
Okay, well, show me what you got.
You don't want to hear me sing?
Okay.
The first time I laid eyes on you, I thought you were an angel. You stole my heart, what could I do? So I fell in love with heaven above. Yeah.
You know what they call that?
We call that pretty darn good.
No, begging.
Beg?
You sound like you begging for something.
Begging?
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on now. Begging.
Well, show me some begging.
Come on, baby. Come on now.
The first time I laid eyes on you, I thought you were an angel.
Come on, baby.
You stole my heart. What could I do? So I fell in love with heaven above.
Come on, baby. Come on now. That's begging.
Begging.
My parents want me to come home, maybe for a while, maybe forever. My parents want me.
Johnny. I had to tell them.
Tell them what?
Well, they asked how you were feeling.
Yeah.
I told them about the HIV.
I got HIV. I don't know how.
Of course not. Maybe it was a bad drug needle.
There ain't no good ones.
Listen, you know, if there was any chance that you could go home to stay, if something ever happened,
What?
they needed to know. You want to stop, get something to eat?
I'm not hungry. Are we home yet?
Almost.
Mr. Mark!
Yeah, Johnny.
Mommy and Daddy, I love them so much.
Good for you, buddy. We'll call them tomorrow. You can tell them.
Tomorrow's Tuesday.
Tomorrow's Sunday.
We can call them on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Please welcome out to the panel Chip Arnold and Barry Scott. Excellent. Well, I think it's very compelling and interesting. There are so many layers of references and conversation about family. And possibly we're not really paying attention to how important the role of family is in some of these issues. Could you speak to that as it relates to the homelessness, mental illness, drug addiction?
Sure, yeah. There's no such person as a homeless person. There's only a homeless person with a family. There's only a homeless person with a society. There's only a homeless person with a nation. There's only a homeless person with you and me, the neighbor. And so what our scene showed for us is when people lack that with it quality, things go wrong. But it also showed that when people begin to share faces together, people grow on each other in wonderful kinds of ways. So I'm from Africa. And in Africa, we have this wonderful proverb that says, "My friends who love me grow on me like moss. My friends who love me grow on me like moss." That proverb is the direct opposite of another one that we have, which is "a rolling stone gathers no moss." North American culture, we are all rolling stones. We move way too fast for moss to accumulate on us. Moss, you may know, has significant medicinal qualities. But the image is that when the cuts of life come, we are somehow protected. You could see how the moss between these two individuals are growing on each other. And you could see that in a car. Cars are wonderful places for this to happen because nobody can escape. You're physically kind of strapped in. So if you ever have to have a difficult conversation, have it in a car. It's always a good place to have a tough conversation. But as moss grows on each other, there is potential, there's possibility. And sadly, I think a lot of the stigma that is attached to homelessness, the stigma that's attached to being HIV positive, the stigma that's attached to mental illness, sort of scrapes away the moss that every person needs. And I think in our play, we could see how two individuals literally was growing on each other, which is the element of hope everybody longs for.
That's wonderful. Well, I'd like to ask of the actors, Chip, I'll start with you. Jaco, in talking about this, the growth and hope that exists in this play, you've done many, many roles. But there's a lot of pull in this role. There's a lot of layers to this character, and I thought maybe you could speak to briefly just what it took to prepare for a role like this.
Facing my own fears and prejudices and inability to connect with human beings that are other. So I guess what I'm saying, my own wretched state. And once I could connect with that, I realized that I play a role of every man, and regardless of our social status, we all are broken in some way, And so I could just tap into that pretty easily in my own life, and then from there could really look into and see Barry's character. And once I could stop and see that character, then I began to feel an empathy that made me uncomfortable. And I like that. I think as an actor, in all the roles that I play, I hope that my characters have an edge that make me uncomfortable so that I may embrace them. They're human. And once I could do that, then the rest was just looking at Barry and listening to what he had to say and responding to that.
Yeah, very nice. Well, Barry, maybe you could speak to the same question, and part of my curiosity extends to, technically, as an actor, this role that you're playing is demanding of your vocal, just vocal quality, and physically, you're doing different things than are your kind of other characters that you've played. So talk about that, if you will.
Well, first of all, it is my delight to play Johnny Ellis. It is my honor and my privilege. Johnny was a real human being, a real person, a citizen of Nashville who I knew and got the chance to meet. And a lot of times actors, we will do character study. And in this case, when you take the time to look at somebody who is homeless, you get caught in something that's irreversible. And if you don't believe me, you try it. When you see a homeless person, take the time to stop and just look at them. Meet their eyes. Allow their eyes to meet yours. And, well, I don't want to do that. But in doing that, it gave me a license, and it gave me the ability and capacity to take on that spirit of shame. And I think when I stopped, I saw their shame, I felt my own shame, we looked at each other's shame. So the process of coming to the character was just, it took me taking the time just to look someone in the eye and to say, hi, how are you? The physical aspect, Johnny couldn't walk very well. He had tingling sensations in his legs constantly from an accident of being set afire. And those sensations would come just periodically and randomly, and that caused me to have to bend over, and it's very painful. So if you see me holding my back, it's really hurting. It's really uncomfortable, and then I use a higher pitch voice to mimic what I thought Johnny was speaking, how he was speaking, because I did get to see him. So I think overall, it's just so good to be able to share something like this with a body of people. It's important.
Yeah, well, and along those lines, when we were talking earlier, Barry, you mentioned that you saw this play as a call to action. Yeah. So could you speak to that a little bit?
Because what happens right now is you get the chance to stop and look homelessness right in the eye. You don't have to turn your head, duck your head, keep going, pretend you don't see them. This play allows you to be confronted with that. And the play on many levels, the audience is Johnny and the audience is Mark. And you get that opportunity to see what Mark did, and whatever he didn't do, you can do, or you can do what he did. The language in the play asks you to do more. So it's very clear to me that the play is saying we have to do something, and that something is to pay attention.
Yeah, very nice. Along those lines, so if it's a call to action, and we talked a little bit about this before, but I'm wondering if you could speak to, so why don't we act? Like, what are some of the barriers and challenges that we have that maybe it's human, maybe it's something practical? What are some of the reasons we don't move?
Thanks, Carolyn. Yeah, we do face a few challenges to become involved. One of the challenges would be that we all live fantastical lives. We live in fantasy. We could see that in the first scene where Mark had a very clear image about who Johnny is, how he will spend his money, what he is doing and not doing. And so all of us have many, but many preconceived notions about the other person. And unless we are willing to slowly demolish and destroy and deconstruct all these preconceived notions that we carry, we will never reach out to the other person. Of course, it's not just the homeless that carry all these preconceived notions. It's people with mental illness. I think veterans returning from war fronts, they carry that. I think certainly people who are on the transgendered or homosexual individuals, they carry all this kinds of preconceived notions about humans that we carry. But there's another reason why we don't help, and that is I think we have to become disloyal to our own families of origin. If your family was like my family, it was a family who said, we look on the bright side, walk on the sunny side, tomorrow is a better day. Broken dreams were barely noticed. Losses mostly went ungrieved, never really honored. And so we remain loyal to our families because to actually say that something is broken and something is wrong here, and we need to address this, we have to go against a family that shaped us in so many ways that is really just not helpful. So between living fantastical lives, we have to demolish all these preconceived notions we carry about other individuals and human beings. But also we have to become disloyal to our families. It takes a lot of work to become involved.
It sounds like it, but it's certainly worth the effort and can give us some great results as a community. Chip, I want to come back to something that you and I talked about. You had mentioned, and I'm going to find the quote here, you said that you wanted the audience and this play to get everyone to exercise their empathetic muscle. I thought that was pretty intriguing. So if you want to speak to that and help us understand what you meant, and then I'd like to add a question to that, which is, why does theater get to do that better than other arenas?
I'll answer the second question first. I think the reason the theater gets to the heart of the empathy muscle quicker is because of it's human flesh, touching other human flesh, right, connecting with you. It's not on a screen, which is safe, and you can go pop your popcorn while the movie's going, or talk, or take a, all mechanical devices should be put away, which means it requires you to pay attention. It requires us to intrigue and engage you with the story that we tell, but it requires you to make more of an effort than you normally do in your daily lives, because it's storytelling. It's reminiscent of the campfire days when there was no other way or no other form of entertainment but staring into the fire and listening to the storyteller tell his or her story. Then, if all in the perfect world, if that is working, then the story, these characters will go straight to the heart, or the empathetic muscle, as I say, and say, I can identify with these people. As actors, we have to be able to identify with the character and the story that we're telling in some form or fashion. I can't enter into a role or a play unless I find, windows of entry that I can relate to this character. So if Barry and I, or whatever the play is doing that well, then you too are drawn in and go with us on this journey. Because I don't know how it's going to end. The things start to unfold in the action of the story, and we're in that moment, and you're with us in that moment. We might be one step ahead of you because we've got to remember what we're doing next. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is listen and pay attention and see. And if we have engaged you in that storytelling process, then you will wake up after however long the play is over and go, wow, what did I just experience? And hopefully that goes with you for the rest of the evening or the days after or whatever, and that you would say, I can't get this out of my memory, which I hope is a good thing. So the empathetic muscle has been engaged. Live theater gives you body-to-body, flesh and blood experience that you don't get anywhere else. It's pure form of storytelling.
Nice. So, so with that engagement, so we've got ourselves engaged. We've identified these issues, and we as an audience or a community, maybe we understand these things. But Barry, I know you do a lot of traveling with other projects that you work on, and also this show goes out on tour for another 6 cities. So I'm wondering if you had the opportunity to say, what's the conversation you want to really start? I know Jim Reyland, when he wasn't able to be here today, he had another engagement, but he wanted to be here. And one thing he shared with me is that he was intrigued that when you did this show like 2 or 3 years ago, that he felt like that this team, you were instrumental in a conversation about the issue of homelessness. And now he feels like it's actually on the mindsets of a broader community. And so is that true?
The fact that we did this show 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and got several theater companies to participate because we said it was a story worth being told has led us to this. So theater, and particularly theater like this, has the opportunity to transform how you think, and not just entertain you or enlighten you or educate you, but transform how you think, which leads to different conduct. And that's the exciting thing. If the play had not done what it was supposed to have done 3 years ago, we wouldn't be here now. And we're going to 6 cities to continue not just to entertain, not to educate or create awareness, but to transform how people think, which leads to different conduct. What if a play could change how you feel? And we believe this play can do that. What if a play could change what you believe and what you think? And it led you to doing something that caused a council person to vote on affordable housing. Affordable housing is really big in Nashville right now, but when we did the play, it was not, no one was talking about it. I would never pat myself on the back and say, look what we did. But these seeds are very important. So what we hope to do in going out is to be mindful, to tell people at the end of the play that we're talking about change, not just conforming to a movement, but change that creates a different landscape. And because I've said just what I've said, you probably won't look at a homeless person the same way ever again. And that's all it takes. Just change how you look at them. Maybe you don't stop, maybe you don't give them money, but something is different now because they're not homeless.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's a powerful topic, and the truth that is required of you as actors and as people who are connected to community, as theologians, as all of these elements. But there's a great deal of truth that we have got to dig in and find, like you were saying, and it's powerful stuff. And I think it's really important. I think, Barry, along those lines, Jocko has brought with him some information because we, as as a everyday citizen of the community, maybe we just don't know how to start that conversation, or maybe we don't know how to dip into something and actually help. So you've got a few resources you wanted to highlight.
Yeah, I would love to share something. I think as we leave our theater today, there's a couple of things we can do just readily. One is practice facing. Look people in the eye, especially the folk you meet on the sidewalks and on the roads of life. And I think we heard that clearly from our play today. But the second one is what Chip said is widen your circle of empathy. Every person has a circle of empathy, which is sort of this emotional sort of entity that if somebody's inside the circle, that person is worthy of our compassion, is worthy of our care, is worthy of our empathy. But most of us actually have very few people who's in that circle of empathy. If we can all widen our circles of empathy, maybe we can invite homeless folk or people who cannot afford to live in Nashville. We can invite them to live in our circle of empathy. I'm always struck by the word politics. Politics literally means the shape of the city. The shape of the city. So every one of us should be politicians, because every one of us would like to shape a city of a certain kind. I certainly would like to live in a city where people can afford homes. I would like to live in a city where the homeless would be recognized and there would be resources to facilitate their well-being. And so I would like to encourage you to become a politician. Earlier this summer, Vanderbilt Divinity School opened Friendship House. Friendship House is a house where we place young adults on the autism spectrum who have never lived on their own. And we place them in sort of interdependent housing with divinity students. And the fund that actually made that affordable housing possible, to give you an example, a 2-bedroom apartment goes for $670, which is extremely cheap. It's a brand new building, which is extremely inexpensive for Nashville. But the fund that created that opportunity is now discussed on the Senate floor in Washington, D.C., and they would like to cut that fund by 93%. Which means that the biggest source of affordable housing, the fund that fuels all the cities in the U.S. basically, it's called the Home Fund. The Home Fund is going to be cut by 93% if we don't stand up, if we don't call in and say, wait a minute, this is a worthy cause that we can sort of get involved in. Besides the agencies that's mentioned on the program, like Room in the Inn and others, I would highly recommend that you check into, here in Nashville, a nonprofit called A Voice. A Voice, it's run by Avi Poster, P-O-S-T-E-R, Avi, and The Voice here in Nashville is the most active group to help us move and think about affordable housing. What if all these high-rise that's being built all around us all the time, what if a percentage of those apartments have to be affordable housing? Just imagine how our society can be changed. Rather than pushing people out to the periphery of life, where the illusion is that those on the inside are better off. We know that that is not the case. So I would love for you to practice facing, look people in the eye, widen your circle of empathy. It's a challenge that we face till the day we die, but widen that circle of empathy and then become a politician, even though you look at debates on television and that is the last thing you want to do is become a politician. I would say shape the city that you live in. It's worth it.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you to everyone here. I also want to take a second and thank TPAC Ed and Vanderbilt, and we also want to thank HCA. They are a sponsor of the tour of the show, and that's really powerful. So we know that you want to be able to get tickets, and TPAC Ed and Vanderbilt and the partners which will be benefiting from the proceeds of the show, feel strongly about you coming to see it. So they have offered, for those people who are here, a buy one, get one free offer. So you can take advantage of that right now after this event at the box office. You can go down and buy one ticket, and you get a second one for free. So that's really wonderful, and we want to thank them for doing that. And I want to remind you just the show times. The public shows are September 25th at 7:30, September 26th, there was a show at 2 o'clock and at 7:30. And all of those shows, the proceeds from those shows are benefiting Room in the Inn, the Salvation Army, and the Nashville Rescue Mission. Pretty powerful, very powerful speakers here today. Thank you so much, and thank you to you, the audience.